Hello, my name is Blake McDonald, and I'm a survey and grant specialist at the Virginia Department of Historic Resources. This brief presentation is intended to share information about a recently completed selective architectural survey of modern architecture in Fairfax County. This project was completed at the request of the Fairfax County Department of Planning and Development and utilized a matching grant supporting the county's contribution to the project from the Virginia Department of Historic Resources Cost Share Survey and Planning Program. The Virginia Department of Historic Resources is the state's historic preservation agency. Our mission is to foster, encourage, and support the stewardship of Virginia's significant historic, architectural, archaeological, and cultural resources. A few of our program areas include the Virginia Landmarks Register and the National Register of Historic Places in Virginia. These two lists are like the honor roll of historic resources important at a local, state, or national level in Virginia. Listing on the registers does not entail restrictions to property owners. Owners of listed resources can select to opt into our robust state and federal rehabilitation tax credit program, which provides dollar-for-dollar reductions in income tax liability to taxpayers who rehabilitate historic buildings to a specific set of standards. Finally, we have our historical highway marker program. We add dozens of markers to the roads each year, and we do have the oldest program in the nation. The documentation of historic architecture and archaeology through survey is central to all program areas at the Department of Historic Resources. Survey records key information about historic resources like buildings, cemeteries, bridges, and even entire neighborhoods or districts to assist with state and local preservation planning efforts. Effective historic preservation relies on the baseline documentation collected during a survey. The Department of Historic Resources incentivizes survey of historic resources through our Cost Share Survey and Planning program. This program provides matching funds and administrative support to historic resource documentation projects proposed by local governments. Many of these projects consist of either historic resource survey or listing properties or districts on the Virginia Landmarks Register and National Register of Historic Places. The Fairfax Modern Architecture Survey was a cost share survey and planning program project. A little background on the project. During and following World War II, Northern Virginia experienced unprecedented growth driven by the demand for suburban housing, first in neighboring Arlington and Alexandria, and finally spilling into Fairfax County. The county's population grew 5 times its size after 1950 in the span of just 30 years, which in turn resulted in demand for new subdivisions and commercial venues, as well as infrastructure expansion in the form of schools, libraries, firehouses, police stations, and other facilities. While much of this construction adapted traditional architectural styles, Fairfax County is also home to a high concentration of modern architecture dating to this period of development, some of which has already been lost due to subsequent development, and other is under imminent threat. The objective of this project was to complete a reconnaissance-level survey of 8 potential historic districts and 143 individual properties constructed between 1950 and the late 1980s that reflect modern architectural styles, and to evaluate them for eligibility for listing in the National Register of Historic Places. The roster of resources identified by the county in consultation with the Department of Historic Resources provided an inventory that planning staff can use to support the stewardship of modern architecture across Fairfax County. Dovetail Cultural Resources Group, a Mead and Hunt company, conducted the architectural survey within Fairfax County in 2022 and 2023. All documentation took place from the public right-of-way. The project methodology, a history of the county's recent development, assessments of the surveyed places, and recommendations for future preservation planning projects are detailed in a report that was compiled after the survey was completed. This effort builds upon a previous architectural survey of the community of Reston conducted through a partnership between the county and the Department of Historic Resources Cost Share Program in 2019. The current project excludes places in the community of Reston already surveyed in the earlier project, as well as previously surveyed modern landmarks elsewhere in Fairfax County. In total, the survey included the recordation of 151 resources constructed between 1946 and 1987. The resources reflect property types, styles, and forms related to that era of construction. Many of these resources were selected for inclusion in the survey because they represent the work of prominent architects or are particularly good examples of a modern architectural style. The four main categories of resources surveyed include residential, commercial, and community or civic buildings. The following slides show a selection of places included in the survey. Examples of residential resources surveyed during this project include houses, residential complexes like assisting living facilities, and even entire neighborhoods. Commercial resources included in the survey consist of strip malls and other types of stores, medical facilities, office complexes, and business parks. Surveyed community and civic buildings include several libraries, fire departments, religious properties, and resources associated with parks and recreation. More information about the surveyed resources shown over the last few slides can be found in the publicly available survey report on the Fairfax Department of Planning and Development's website under the Projects and Initiatives tabs, or at the Department of Historic Resources website. The benefits of this project include a greater understanding of mid-20th century historic resources and architects in Fairfax County, survey records for areas that may be threatened by new development, inclement weather, or climate change, important documentation that could provide the first step towards National Register listing if desired by the property or property owners. And finally, this project does not include any new restrictions, requirements, or expectations for property owners in the survey area. If you have questions about this project, please reach out to the Fairfax County Department of Planning and Development or to me, Blake McDonald, at the email address listed on the screen. Thank you.